glass of mead.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. We are live here. Nice. And this is where like fancy music plays. Do 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 do. Welcome to the Brew Trails. Sweet. Okay, so thank you for joining, or no one's joined yet, but maybe you'll be looking back at this later. Um, I want to try this video podcast out, and if you are listening to the podcast, just the audio, shame on you. You're not going to be able to see my very handsome, distinguished guest for tonight, Mr. Evan Anderson here. Yeah, he's picking his nose. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Evan. Thanks for coming on the Brew Trails.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, yes. So we have some libations here. We've got some of Evan's mead. Oh, mine is a little bit empty. I may have been pre-sampling a little bit beforehand, but I think that's okay. So, cheers, man. First things first, why are you on this show? What is happening in your life right now that you share?
Well, we're, my wife and I are trying to start Flagstaff's first meadery. We've always loved bees and honey, and so making booze is only the natural next step there. And so we're hoping to start fermenting within the next month or so and be selling mead to Flagstaff by the end of the year.
That is awesome. That is, I'm so stoked for you guys to watch this dream come true and this thing come true. And Flagstaff definitely is going to be stoked to have you guys coming on board with yet another different way of getting tipsy or getting fun. A lot of people out there. What is mead? What the heck is mead? Run me through, I guess, the basics at least of it, but then maybe the step-by-step of producing it later. But what in the world is mead?
So if you go by the federal code of regulations, mead is considered a wine. But in my own belief, I think that mead is it's fermented with honey, whereas beers are usually fermented with grains, fermented with grapes or other fruits. So mead kind of falls into its own category. It's not really a beer or a wine. It's mead, and it's a very old drink, and it's something that's kind of coming back into style right now, and it's delicious mostly.
Cool. So it's fermented honey then. Is there anything else? Like beer has a couple ingredients. It has the water, the barley, the hops, the yeast. What are the main ingredients of mead?
So what composes like a traditional mead, and there's many different styles of mead. But what composes a traditional mead is just honey, yeast, and water. And so it's a very, very simple drink. Honey does lack a lot of the proteins and amino acids and things like that some of the other beverages have automatically sort of inherently in their ingredients. So you do have to add some nutrient when you're fermenting honey just to keep the yeast lively and producing alcohol. So, but beyond that, I mean, very important. But beyond that, the main ingredients are just honey, yeast, and water. Nice and simple.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. You mentioned it's old. I do think about mead as being, like an old school drink. I don't know, like Vikings kind of come up in my head. Do you know much of the history of mead compared to others?
I think some of the earliest history of mead has probably been lost to us, unfortunately. They have found mead in Chinese, what was it? It was like a Chinese vase or whatever that was sealed off, and they found mead, and it's 7,000 years old was how old that pottery was. So that's kind of evidence that it was around before a lot of other things. If you look at sort of the evolutionary arms race that goes on in the wild, it makes sense that bees kind of created the very first yeast that we use to make any sort of alcoholic beverage, because they've been this evolutionary arms race because they're storing sugar, and their main worry, or one of the main worries with that, is that the yeast will get into that sugary mixture that they're storing and turn it into alcohol before they get a chance to use it and eat it and so on and so forth. And so through that kind of evolutionary arms race where the bee is trying to get its honey to a state where the yeast can't get into it and start utilizing the sugars, the yeast has also been in this evolutionary arms race to sort of build up its cell wall and build up its ability to basically to pass things back and forth across an increasingly hostile concentration barrier. And so if you kind of look at that and sort of think about it, it makes sense that quite possibly mead is one of the very first drinks that we ever had, because that being said, I mean, the hunter-gatherers could have gone out and found a log that had been smashed open by a bear and had rainwater fall into it and stay. And all you need to get fermentation going for mead is basically honey and water, and it might not taste good, and you'll pretty much start fermenting with that. So it's quite possible that we've sort of evolved with mead our whole existence.
So, wow. Okay, forgot to let everybody know that Evan is also super biology geek, just like I am. Went through all the crazy classes and did a bunch of ecosystem and species studies. So, yeah, okay, evolutionary arms race and stuff like that. That's cool. It's one of the earliest, if not the earliest, forms because of that struggle of. So, are you saying that then created the alcoholic product sooner than the other beverages did? Is that?
I think so, because it made the ease of it a lot more. It's a lot easier for us to understand when you mix honey and water together and you eventually get a booze. It's a lot easier than, say, the process of knowing to boil the grain to like a specific temperature to release all the sugars in a form that the yeast can eat. That takes a little more understanding and knowledge. Same with a wine.
Okay.
Knowing to crush the grapes together and put them together at a certain mixture to get them to start to ferment takes a little bit more know-how than just honey and water thrown together, and all of a sudden you got a tasty beverage, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So haphazardly, it could have happened a lot sooner than the others. We have a possible technical issue. Hold on one second. We might not.
Uh-oh.
What was that?
I'll keep drinking.
Oh, we have 2 questions on Facebook already. That's what she was telling me. Awesome. Nice. Sweet. Before we get to that, that's awesome. It sounds like you definitely have an awesome passion. By the way, nice hat. Sweet. And nice painting in the background. Is it a painting or what is that?
It is. It's a painting that it's a painting that a friend of ours did for us, and it's what we're going to end up. We kind of ended up using this as the basis for a lot of our labels that we're creating, and so you're gonna see this horn a whole lot pretty soon.
Awesome! I can't wait. That's so cool. Someone did that and put that together for you. I love it. Way better than my.
We have a lot of people helping us.
Oh, good. Right on. Shout out to them for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say way better than my background of like a door and then like a map. So
hey, I love topo maps. I love topo maps.
Yes. Ooh, topo. That sounds like a food item. Go out and get some topos. Anyway, so you're
hungry.
nom nom or thirsty. What are we drinking? Which one is this? It's going down, obviously. What's that?
It just kind of disappears. I don't know what happens to it.
Yeah,
it evaporates real quick. What the? But so this is a traditional mead. This is just honey, yeast, and water. A little bit of nutrients, obviously, to help the yeast go and do their thing. But there's nothing else in it. There's no preservatives. There's no tannins. There's nothing but honey, yeast, water, and now that it's been fermenting for a while, it's got alcohol too. And so this, woohoo! Thank goodness. And so one thing that I really like about mead is that you can use, just like you can use different grains with beer, or you can use different varieties of grapes with wine. With mead, you can use different varieties of honey. And so orange blossom honey seems to be a really big, really popular honey for a lot of meaderies to be using, for a lot of meads to be made with. But this one was made with a mesquite from down there in the, down in the Central Valley there in Arizona. Is harvested mesquite honey, and it's a real dark honey. It ends up fermenting. It takes a little longer to age out because of just some of the properties of the honey, but it ends up kind of being a nice, almost smoky flavor, even though it's never been in a bottle.
I do feel like I get kind of the smokiness, and I mean, it may just be my mind, but do you taste the mesquite? Would I be wrong to say, like, because I've I've dealt with mesquite flour. I've created my own, made pancakes and all sorts of
Yum.
stuff with mesquite flour. Yeah, totally yum. Am I mistaken that I can get that taste from there? Is that just my mind, or will it come through as a flavor
I
in the honey?
it's when it comes to flavors, like they're a very personal thing, and I've
Mm.
heard some people say that tasting the honey in a mead would be like tasting the grapes in a wine, and like you don't want your
Oh.
wine to taste like grape juice. But at the same time, like, but at the same time, I really feel like you can. Like I think you can. I think you can taste that kind of mesquitiness to it. When you get the orange blossom honey and you ferment with that, you get kind of it's almost a citrusy sort of overtone, sort of floral notes to it. So I think you
Hmm.
definitely pick up a lot of the flavors from whatever's in the honey. And I mean, bees, it's pretty crazy because bees, especially if they're in an area where they're harvesting primarily one plant, the honeys can be markedly different. So it's something I look forward to experimenting with a little bit is different types of honey and how they end up tasting because I think you could taste the mesquite and I like it.
Yeah, me too. And then, yeah, that little bit of smokiness. So that'll actually lead me. I've got a couple questions. We're actually getting quite a few questions. This is awesome. Everyone out there who's watching, hopefully all the technical side of this is good, like the audio. If it's not, please let me know on either Facebook or Twitter. And but hopefully we're coming through well. And thank you. We've got 10 viewers right now, so
Awesome.
this is awesome. Yeah.
I'm nervous.
And so, oh yeah, the question. So going on that point, Amanda asks, what flavors of mead have you made in the past? Which was your favorite and why?
I've made a couple of different types of traditionals. I've made a lot of different like fruit mixes varieties, a pear, a pomegranate, a pineapple,
Jeez.
which came out really good. My favorite, I want to try a lot of stuff with spices. It seems to be a very traditional kind of way of making mead. It used to be, I mean, mead in some cultures has actually been medicinally considered. And so they would actually mix some of the herbs that you would take that would normally be awful to take for, your rheumatism or whatever it was. And
Oh
you'd mix
yeah.
them in with your mead and you make it a little, make it help go down a little sweeter, I guess. But my favorite flavor that we've come out with so far is the dry hopped. And it's kind of taking a little infusion from the beer aspect of things and making the wine, getting it fully completed, and then adding a whole bunch of Cascade hops to it and dry hopping it. And the flavor comes
What?
out. It's not the like bitter notes that you get out of an IPA when you're boiling those hops and you're getting those bitter tones. It's a much more like it's kind of floral and citrusy, and it's really yummy.
Nice.
That's
That's
definitely my
awesome.
favorite.
Sweet. And that makes total sense if anyone out there has brewed before and knows brewing. Those when you dry hop or do those late hop additions, yeah, you're not pulling that bitterness. You're pulling more the flavor of the hop, and so that's awesome. So you just dumped a whole bunch of Cascade in there, right? Is what you said?
Yeah, just a whole
Cascade
bunch of
hops.
Cascade. Yep, it kind of exploded out the airlock a little bit. It was an experience.
Nice, man. It sounds like you've been busy. You just named off a ton, like pear and pineapple and traditional and hopped. Is that something you're gonna want to? You said you want to experiment, but once you start distributing, is that something you want to do? Is come out with a lot of different styles?
Yeah, I want to come out with a bunch of different flavors. It's not as easy as beer, and congratulations to you guys, by the way, on 100 beers in your first year being open. Very impressive. And so,
Thank you
so
very
since it
much. That
takes
was
like
crazy.
6 months to ferment and age out, I'm not gonna be able to get out as many flavors as you guys did, but I'm really looking forward to trying a whole bunch of different flavors and seeing what people really like. What's Flagstaff's flavor? You know, I really look
Cool.
forward to doing some coffees. I've had some
Mm,
coffee meads before that have been just
really?
delicious. Gives you an excuse to drink for breakfast. Why not? So
Cheers to
there's
that.
there's cheers. There's a lot of room to expand as far as the flavors go, and I
That's
plan on
cool.
having a whole bunch of them hopefully available for the drinking.
So do we. So do we. Coffee meat. That's awesome. Cool. So it really is a craft product. I mean, we talk about craft beer, but and when I thought about mead before, you and I discussed it, I would think of it as simply, like honey wine, and there wasn't a whole lot of variety that could happen. Or some of the varieties I was tasting weren't that different. It was just like you said, maybe a slight difference in the origin of the honey. But now you're talking about some awesome stuff like the dry hopped. The pineapple, I do remember that was at your wedding, correct?
Yeah, it was there. A little
Yeah,
carbonated, a little bubbly pineapple mead.
yeah, that
It
was awesome.
was
So
fantastic.
talking about the different types of honey, Nico Barrazo uh, had a question posted on Facebook, and he was asking if you. I need to back up. The video is getting a little crazy here. Nico asked, "Has Evan tried?" And I'm going to try to say this correctly. Manuka honey for mead, or
I have not.
Monica?
I have not. I would love to though. I really want to get into trying different varieties. Nico will
Yeah,
have to tell me where that honey comes from.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know nothing about it.
Maybe he'll chime in here and explain a little bit more what that if that's like a regional type of honey, maybe from another continent, or maybe it's yeah, I don't know. So yeah,
I probably
what is
should. So
Manuka?
I'd love to find out.
Cool. Um, Sweet. What you're obviously passionate about mead. What is it that makes you passionate about it? What is it about mead that drives you to want to start this meadery? Oh, as I
Um,
knock over my mead glass, don't do that.
I almost just kicked off my stand that my camera is sitting on. So
That would have
I
been
almost
great.
bolted
Bonk.
it. A lot of it for me is the bees. Like a lot of people would say, oh, the brewing, that's why I started getting into it was the brewing. But I really love bees, and I've always loved honey. I had bees as a little kid. My dad he showed me how to work hives and stuff like that.
Really?
And the bees is kind of really where it started. I mean, that's a huge part of it. A huge part of my inspiration too was you guys seeing Dark Sky, go through it and take their dream from just an idea to something that you're actually doing. And
Huh.
I saw you guys do that, and I want to do it too.
Cool.
So I mean, it's partly that. It's partly the love of bees, and frankly, like bees are in such a crazy, sad state right now. If there's anything that's going to get people more interested, more engaged in the topic of our current bee situation and such, it's going to be mead. You gotta get people to drink it, and maybe we'll all like bees a little better. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't mess with the alcohol.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly,
get too
exactly.
hooked on mead, and then they'll really care about the bee. For sure.
That's the plan.
It's
That's the
gonna
plan.
take away my alcohol. Oh man, that's cool.
Oh,
That's so unique that you care about the origin of the animal. That's awesome. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, sweet. Like
you should care more about your grain fields, Nicholas. You should care
you
more about your
know,
grain.
I do. The barley grain is in a plight right now. Save the barley. I hope not. Oh gosh, hope no diseases come through. We'd all be drinking Hefeweizens, 100% wheat Hefeweizens. Oh, yikes.
Nothing but wheat. Oh,
Yeah, you might have to add some nutrients to that one.
yeah.
Cool, awesome. So we talked about the variety in mead, and so that answered one of my questions. I was going to ask what you've been experimenting with. Um, what do you think? Are you going to come out? Well, let's talk about actually Drinking Horn. Drinking Horn as a business. I'm really interested in knowing um, kind of the steps so far that you've taken with Drinking Horn, where it's at right now in the process. So kind of run us through your first couple of months of getting set up with Drinking Horn. What were those like?
Yeah, certainly. It's kind of been a battle a little bit. I mean, it's tough with the feds. You have to get a federal license first, and they require you to be in a location to get. Excuse me. They require you to be in a location to get that federal license. So I've been in the location that I'm at now for about just under a year at this point, and most of that has just been needing to have a location and address to put on to all these licenses because you have to have the licenses and be building the kitchen out before you can do anything. And so, it's been a slow process. There's altogether some 7 licenses that I have to get put together.
Whew.
We're down to just the last couple, so that's really
Yeah.
exciting. Woo! And they're going faster. The city of Flagstaff does an awesome job with really trying to help out businesses and help get things started.
Oh, nice.
The state of Arizona also does a pretty good job. The feds are some of the slowest people I've ever worked with, and it took
Mm.
them like 200 days to process 2 days worth of paperwork. But
Oh,
so it's been an ongoing battle, and there's lots of people that want to make sure that what you're doing is safe and okay for the public, and so you have to appreciate and respect that, regardless of the terribly long process it puts us through. But right now, we just went to City Hall last week and got our local approval. They send it back to the state. Then once they get their license, I can go to the county and get the health board to inspect us, and then I can start fermenting finally. So hopefully it's only a couple weeks away at this point after a couple years in the making.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Wow. You can see the finish line.
It's there. I can see the light through the end of the tunnel.
There it is, right over there. There's the light. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear. And then once you get, what was that?
It's faint, but it's there still.
Oh, yes. Just a little tiny light, just kind of shimmering through.
Yeah.
All right, I won't do that again. Sorry. Oh, what was that noise? Still figuring this out. Oh, I see what it was. Oh, it was an explanation by Nico. Okay, cool. That just came through. Nice.
Excellent.
It is a medicinal type of honey, and it is quite expensive. And so he was wondering if that type of honey has been meadified at all. So there's a link. He even actually shared a link. Thank you, Nico. And so I'll forward that on. Actually, I'll put that on the show notes as well for people to take a look at. So you can, and all the stuff we'll talk about, we'll have links to the notes. So sweet, something more for you to read up on while you're waiting for your license.
Well, and it kind of brings up a good point, because there's some of these plants that people have been getting bees to harvest from and make honey from. And it's one of the questions that I'm kind of curious with some of these, medicinally related. They've even been doing it with marijuana, actually, recently. They've gotten bees to harvest and make honey from marijuana. So on some of these levels with these medicinal sort of applications, like, I'm curious to see if it ferments. Does it ferment through? Because it's, going through the fermentation process, there's a lot of chemical stuff going on. And I would love to see if, like, the medicinal properties of that honey were able to carry through into the mead. That'd be awesome if they did. I'd love to give it a try.
Yeah. It might break down. There might be enzymes that break down the important parts, the active parts of the medicine, or it might stay through. Cool. It sounds like you could have some research projects.
More experiments. Yeah. More experiments.
Drinking Horn. Sarah asks, what's with the name? What are the oranges? So oranges, sure. What are the oranges? But what also are the origins of the Drinking Horn name? So basically, from Sarah, what's with the name?
What's with the name? Well, the name kind of comes from, when you think of drinking mead generally, although it has possibly very archaic origins. When we think of drinking mead, a lot of us are thinking of going to Valhalla with our swords on our backs in the great Viking way. We're thinking of sort of a Viking sort of thing. And, like, when I think of mead, what I really think of is, like, when we used to live in a simpler time, back before we had 10,000 tax brackets that things fit into, back before you had all this legality and bureaucracy that our world is absolutely coded in today. And it makes me think of just a simpler time when you wouldn't drink out of some glass manufactured in China. You'd drink it out of a horn. And that was your best, or maybe some bladder of some animal if that was your thing. But you'd be drinking it out of a horn, just nice and simple. And that's kind of like our business motto is, a simple drink to bring you back to the simple times. And so that's where the horn comes from, is just trying to take us back to the simpler times when things were a little less complicated.
Nice. I like that. Cool. Hopefully that answered that question.
Thank you for the question. That's good. Yeah.
So you would actually drink out of the horn. Would the horn be, I don't know, maybe you don't know this or not, but, like, was it a specific type of animal? Was it like a bull? Was it an oxen? Was it a...
Well, I'm not too sure. The horn we used for ours is kind of a bull horn, but I'd like to get, like, some sort of oryx horn or something personally, something like long and swirly with a nice lot of depth to it.
Did you say
a long swirly?
An oryx. Oh, an oryx.
Oryx. Get my microphone in there. Oryx.
Oh, no, I think you said it right. I think I just didn't know what an oryx was. Again, you with your biology there and your animal physiology.
One of them African ones with the crazy swizzly horns that are like 3 foot long. That's what I want to make.
Swizzly. See, if you would have said the one with the swizzly horns, I would have totally understood what you're saying.
Swizzly. I should have known.
Speaking of swizzling, I like how the mead's going down for sure. And I'm not drinking it out of a horn; I'm drinking it out of a glass. But I do have an Nalgene of it right here as well. So I'm going back to a little bit more of a simpler time on that one. Let's keep
Anytime
up
your
with
booze is an analogy, it's good.
yeah. Anytime you're boozing, no. Let's go back to another question. One more question here for you.
Sure.
Where'd it go? Oh, so Nico, Nico had another question. If I drink mead, will I have Viking-like strength? Also, does it allow me to wear a sword or double-edged axe in public? So is that something that you automatically get to do?
It does. It does. It is true. That's you automatically. It also, but it might also make you want to pillage a little bit. So you got to be kind of careful. You know, you don't want to overdo it if you don't want to end up pillaging your neighbor's house. So don't drink too much mead.
Okay.
Well,
but you
drink way too much.
But you can carry a sword if you drink mead. All right, straight from Evan.
Just on basis. Yeah.
Will it give you Viking-like strength?
Well, you'll at least think you have Viking-like strength.
Oh yeah.
I am so awesome.
So instead of beer muscles, it's mead strength.
That's right. That's right.
Cool. What do you call your what? So I was wondering this a little bit the other day. Like I'm a brewer because I brew beer. You make mead. Are you also a brewer, or do you know if there's any other specialty term for that?
So I've done a little looking around because people have asked me before what to call myself, and
they've given you plenty of suggestions, dumb. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. But that's yeah. There's been a few, and the thing that I find a lot is mazer, Mazer, and I'm not too sure where the origin of that word is or why it comes up. I've never seen it backed up by any information that says where that comes from. But I like that I'm I forgot the word that I used earlier, a zymergist.
Oh,
someone who I'm into zymergy. I'm zymerging.
Explain that to the people listening.
A zymergist is somebody who studies fermentation and the process thereof, and which entails, so I mean, brewers, vintners, and whatever I am, all kind of fall into the zymergist category. But I guess mazer is what it is. But then comes the question of, am I mazing then when I'm, if you're a brewer, you're brewing. If you're a vintner, I don't know what vintners do. I guess they're just making wine. Maybe that's all I'm doing. I'm just making mead.
Yeah.
We'll come up with the verb for it. I figure once, I'll come up with the verb for it.
Yeah, yeah. And if not, you can just make one up for sure too.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking that I want to be called a mead baron. If you're a brewer, I want to be a mead baron. I might be getting a little high and mighty, but it could be because I've been drinking too much mesquite mead.
Nice. Well, Mr. Baron, you've oh, nice. I like this question a lot. So, you have quite the fondness for '90s hip hop, which I do as well. So does all of Dark Sky, me and Ryan. So I was wondering. And I've heard you freestyle a little bit. We've actually even had some sessions, possibly a video coming out sometime in the near future. But is there? Are we going to see any of that '90s hip hop influence in any of your meads, be them names or anything like that? And I'm not trying to push an agenda on you and tell you should totally make a mead with like a Most Def theme or something like that. But
well. Pretty much all of the mead gets a rigorous vibration from all of the '90s hip hop as they ferment, because of listening to music while I'm making mead. So they all, I think, pick up a little bit of that '90s hip hop taste. They show up in there. I'm actually trying to stay away from naming my. I would love to name my meads. I've been coming up with so many delightfully punny names. I love puns, and so I've got terrible puns for a lot of meads. But part of me, and wanting to keeping it simple, wants to not name them all these fancy, fruity things. Mm-hmm. And when I have a pomegranate mead, I will name it pomegranate mead. I know. That's crazy. But I like keeping it simple. I like keeping it simple.
I love that. I really like that. And actually, I'd definitely rather see that for sure. Keeping it classy.
Keeping it classy.
Yeah.
As classy as this lowbrow dude gets.
Aw. Look at you. You're starting with a really nice poster or painting. So.
I know. I'm trying to jazz me up a notch. And this doing it. Working.
Yeah. Cool. So you said it's taking a little bit longer, which I think everybody needs to understand. You know, the brewery took. It's almost like what day do you think it's going to be? Okay, add 9 months to that. But as far as, but are you at least are you happy where you are? Are you raring to go? Like the day you get the license, are you ready to put the ingredients together and start this thing?
I'm ready. I've got ingredients. I've got a fermenter sitting in there. I got a nice 128 gallon basically fermenter because it's a 3.5 barrel. But
nice.
they add in 25% headspace because it's a barrel made by you beer guys, and so they add in a little headspace to clear it up. So I can use that headspace for making more booze.
Oh,
and I'm rearing to go.
You don't need that headspace. You don't get that crazy fermentation bubbling out of every little nook and cranny that we get. You don't get that?
No goo coming out the top. Usually nothing. It's mead's kind of mellow. It's a patience game. It's definitely a patience game.
Because I can imagine like ours is sticky enough, but if you get honey coming out of those blow-off tubes in the tops, ooh, I'll just start over with a new fermenter. Just throw that one away.
Yeah. It's I'm looking forward to using the big equipment and moving up from my little 8-gallon guys up into the 100-gallon guys, and it's going to be a sticky mess. It's definitely going to be a sticky mess.
Yeah, just gotta get used to it. I guess I do not deal well with sticky. If I sit in sap or get sap on me, I turn into like a 3-year-old. I'm like, get it off now! I hate it. If you ever want to torture me, just like put sap or honey on me, and I just
stick it right to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a mopping robot for the meadery because I can't mop 1,500 square feet of flat floor. That's ridiculous.
Do they make mopping robots that I'm not aware of?
I looked into it. There is a mopping robot out there. I'm a little concerned about the quality of mopping that it does.
Yeah.
But there's a mopping robot out there.
You get in there and the robot's just in the corner stuck to the floor like
yeah. That is going to be trying to maneuver around all the fermenters. It's going to be confused. Poor little guy.
I've definitely thought, and I still might do it, getting one of those, I don't remember what they're called, but those little robots that move around the brewery, just turn it on at night, go around and grab it.
Clean the place up?
Yeah, especially one to be fit for dog hair, because we've got a lot of dog hair in our brewery.
I bet. I didn't even think about that. I bet you guys did it a lot with the puppy.
I'm a little distracted. I did just knock over the mead. I have more, but there was just a tiny amount. But I did just knock it over. Man,
I would have just given you a whole bottle earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have just given you a whole bottle earlier. But that what we were drinking this is the last bottle I have that's finished right now.
Oh man, come on, license, hurry up so Evan can start fermenting.
I know. I got another 30 gallons of like non-commercial mead that I'm making right now, and it's coming along. But man, I tell you what, the stuff just never goes fast enough. I always drink it before I'm ready to bottle the next batch.
Well, with all the big fermenters you're getting, that'll probably be that should be pretty good.
Should be that right up.
Should be. I don't know. We'll see. Flagstaff loves to drink, and with this new product, I imagine you'll be plenty busy. Speaking of which, Flagstaff being able to get your product, and also Sarah Bruns asked, are you going to have a tap room or whatever the meadery version of that is? Are you licensed for that, for a tasting room or a tap room?
So it's kind of funny. I have the licensing for it, but my location does not have the zoning to have a tap room in there. So that's for us to have our own tasting room is going to be a little bit down the line for us.
Okay.
For now, we're going to be looking to sell it to basically we're starting off small because it's a small business. So we're starting off small, and we'll be selling it to one bar in town here in Flagstaff. I'm in contact with them right now, and I'll be letting people know more as it comes about. But hopefully one bar and then one place where you can buy bottles. And that's how we'll start off initially. And if people just gobble it up, then we'll keep expanding and keep growing.
Nice.
And have it available everywhere.
Yeah, and Dark Sky, hopefully someday we'll find one of those elusive licenses that we can sell wine and cider and therefore mead too. Get you in there.
I would love it. I'd love it.
Get you on tap. So look to that in the future too. So starting out in the beginning, no tap room, no tasting room, but distributing to at least one bar and one bottle shop.
Bottle shop. Yep.
Cool. Oh, awesome.
Just to start with, it'll be small, but we're basically doubling production. Like from the start, we'll be doubling production every 6 months for about the first 2 to 2.5 years. So it'll be growing fast. So hopefully I can produce enough for Flagstaff to drink it all.
Yeah, get ready for it. Seriously, because everything I've tasted, not from just this, but we've shared plenty of glasses of mead together, brother. It's something that I never would have thought. I'm not a wine drinker. I can't do it. I can't drink wine. I've tried. I mean, I can drink it. I'll sit down and drink a glass of it for sure. So when you first started making mead ages ago and were giving me samples, I was super surprised. It does have that craft to it. It does have a drinkability. And talk a little bit about that. There is one thing about mead that you like that you've mentioned before. I don't know if you understand what I'm asking you there, but
it could be a couple of things. It could be the fact that the buzz is just slightly different. Is that what you were going for?
A little bit the after buzz as well, or the next day.
The next morning. Well, and I think it kind of goes hand in hand with what I was talking about earlier, that we've probably had mead in our lives for at least 30,000 years, possibly. There's a good chance that that's as far back as it goes for us. And so we've been kind of evolving with it. And the buzz is really nice. If you haven't ever just had a night drinking mead, take the mead challenge and just drink mead and nothing else for a night and see how you feel that night and see how you like it. Because, I mean, we understand that, say, whiskeys has a different buzz than tequila, has a different buzz than beer, has a different buzz than other things. And mead is, once again, its own separate drink and has its own separate buzz that kind of accompanies it. And then after the mead challenge, wake up the next morning and write on Drinking Horn's page just how you feel the next day, if you feel good. Overindulging in anything will make you feel terrible. But generally, I think it's something that, because of the low number of things in it, just honey, yeast, and water, that we tend to be able to digest it and process it a little bit better than some other drinks.
Makes sense. And who doesn't? What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
I don't have anything.
Okay, good. Then I was going to talk. It's something that I just wanted to mention. And like you said, usually when you think about mead, you just think of this sickeningly sweet, cloying on the tongue kind of drink. And that's not what we're trying to produce. We're trying to produce something that has just a drinkability to it. I don't want it to be all super sweet and sugary. I don't like things like that, unless it's some Sour Patch Kids, and then I'll eat pounds of them. But
yeah, he will. He actually will. Go hiking with him in the Grand Canyon. He brings a gallon Ziploc bag of Sour Patch Kids, and you're like, "What are you doing? That's stupid." You get I don't know, a night into your backpacking trip down there, and you're just like, this is the best idea ever.
Sugar.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I love my sugar. I love my sugar. But I don't like my drinks too sweet. And we're going to have a lot of sweet stuff, too, because there's some drinks that just should be sweet. And I think females possibly, I don't want to generalize and hurt anybody's feelings, but females often tend to like a little sweeter drinks. And we're going to definitely cater to that, too. And there should be the sweeter ones. But, for those of us who like to drink a nice IPA, I want to make a mead for that guy as well.
Nice. I love hearing that. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear
Hmm.
those dry. Would you describe? Okay, this actually goes into Casey's question. So Casey Bauer, what's up, Casey? He adds, what flavors describe a great mead? So I was getting ready to ask, is the word dry a description the same as you would say like a wine or a beer? But say you're drinking a nice, good mead. Actually, and then after that, act like you're drinking a bad mead. And can you give us some of those descriptions? Just maybe one or two.
I think a lot of it, once again, comes down to like personal preference in something. Like
Yeah.
with meads, I mean, what I'm going for when I'm making my stuff is you don't want to have a whole lot of strange flavors picking up in it. You want something to be nice, smooth, and kind of crisp. And I mean, but it's such a trying to describe like a particular flavor and what you want to exactly pull out of it is a tough question. And I think that's what we're going for. I mean, if I was to try to describe what I'm shooting for in a good mead, it would be something that's clean and crisp. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense to the palate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So would overly sweet be something you would say, or overly dry? Would those be descriptions at all?
They could be. I wouldn't want to use them on any of my mead, but they
Well,
could be
yeah.
descriptions. Yeah. But
Nice.
definitely they could be. I mean, it's as far as like a lot of the descriptive qualities and flavors go, as far as that regard is, like wine terms are pretty descriptive for mead as well, as far as like dries and
Okay.
sweets and
Hmm.
things like that.
Okay. Cool. Nice. I gotta share this picture. So someone just sent a picture in. I'm gonna try to screen share for my first time here. Let me know if you can see it here in a second. There we go. Can you see that shot right there?
Yeah, I sure can.
So yeah. So here's a cute little puppy dog. I actually know this puppy dog. His name is Xander. He is attentively watching our podcast right now, and it says Xander
That is
Zoots is
cute.
stoked. That is awesome. Oh, what an
You might
awesome
like
picture. I love
mead.
it. Yeah, I'm sure he would like mead. He's a sweet boy, so he would like some sweet mead. All right, now hopefully we're back. I'm not looking at all my screen stuff. So nice. Thanks, Sarah, for sending that picture. That like makes my week right there. That's awesome. Okay, let me just see if there's any. I think that's about it for the questions. Nico posted. He said, "If you make mead, you are a chieftain," and he has a picture of
I like that.
what I guess would be a chieftain Viking on there as well. I guess I could share that one too
I
if I can do
like
it
that.
fast enough. Boom, boom. Go to screen share. Boom, boom. So here's the picture right here that he shared. So if you make mead, you are a chieftain. Look at that. That looks like you. Well, it did
I
look
like
like
that.
you
I
until
know. I shaped, cut off the hair, and I trimmed up the beard, made it
you
look all
did.
pretty.
Yeah, now you don't look like the
Uh,
chieftain right
Dang,
there.
I'll grow it out.
So
Give me till wintertime. By the time meat is ready to sell, I'll look like a chieftain again.
yeah. Well, you don't have to.
But
I
you
like
know,
I like the clean cut Evan. It's okay, but
it's not bad. It's not bad.
nice. All right, so I want to now go into. Oh, actually, no. One more thing I want to do. Now let's do it. All right, here we go. So, Brew Trails, what we're going to do with our interviewees, I'm going to hit you with a couple fast, rapid-fire questions. Just
All right.
answer the top of your head. I'm still coming up with a clever name to call these. I was going to call it the 12-pack because we're talking about mead today, but it is a beer-based podcast. And I was going to call it 12-pack, but I got more than 12 questions here. So just kind of rapid-fire questions. You don't have to answer them super fast. Don't go crazy. But are you ready for this?
I'm feeling ready. I'm feeling ready.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So, for those of you out there in just podcast land, I don't know. Here we go. I don't know where I was going with that. That'll be an edit point, actually, for those of you who are not listening live. I will edit that out. All right. Here we go. 12-pack questions. They could be about mead. They could be about beer. They could be about just completely doesn't make any sense kind of stuff. So, here we go. What is the best meal that you cook?
Oh, the best meal that I cook? Probably a steak. I love to grill.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Damn, good answer. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, oh, that's tough.
It
I'm
is
gonna have to
really.
go Star Trek. My father's an
Oh,
engineer. I grew up watching the
all
Star
right.
Trek.
Interview's over. Sorry. All right, guys, forget Drinking Horn. It's gonna be terrible.
It's too
Don't drink it.
popular.
Okay.
Ever since Disney bought it. Ever since Disney bought it.
Well, yes, no, not the new Star. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Classic Star Wars or Star
Versus
Trek,
Star
but
Trek.
no,
Oh yeah, classic Star Wars for
sorry,
sure.
I'm trying to not be in any position of swaying these answers. I apologize, Star Trek. And you were about to tell like some sweet story about your dad or something like that, but that just interrupted terribly. Okay, what's your go-to 3-day weekend spot? If you have 3 days to go somewhere, where's your go-to right now? Boom.
Uh, Preferably, if I got the time and the effort to do so, I like to go up to the ferry, up to Lee's Ferry, and do a little boating and camping and slay some fish.
Slay some fish. Yeah, you are a well, Trout Slayer is your name, right? Your name on some of the Facebook and stuff like that. Or no,
Yeah,
it's Evan B. Trout,
I
not
didn't be
Trout Slayer.
trout.
It should be Trout Slayer. If anyone doesn't know, Evan is like an expert fisherman. He's like, I don't know, boom bing, boom, dinner done. It's
I don't
awesome.
know. And last time we were on the river, you were the one catching us dinner. So
Yeah, I know. I don't like to toot my own horn, but yeah, I caught dinner for us that one
Nick caught dinner for a whole bunch of us that evening.
Yeah, and I don't know what was that like only six. I don't know. That was a good trip. Okay, we can't talk about that trip
All
on
right, all right.
live internet. All right, favorite ice cream flavor?
Uh, Vanilla. I'll jazz it
Oh,
up. Vanilla bean.
hey, ooh, spicy.
Nice.
Pandora or Spotify?
Pandora. I don't even know what Spotify is.
Oh. What's your favorite like go-to grub spot in Flagstaff if you're walking around downtown and you're like, I'm hungry? Where would you go?
Oh, well, it used to be my favorite little Italian place there. But
Oh,
yeah,
Il Rosso?
yeah, yep. That
Mm.
used to definitely be that would be my go-to. But now it's got to be threes in the trees.
Oh, yeah. Ah, Threes in the Trees. Good answer. Threes in the Trees is a
Mm.
food truck that comes to Dark Sky. And there are little other spaces in town as well. And we'll have them, Rusty, Augie, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, they're the owners of Threes in the Trees. Man, they do it right. Oh, the food's so
Yeah, they
good.
do.
And what I was talking to them just now on the camera is get into our place. Every hour we're open. Please, please. Your food is so awesome. So yeah, good answer. Good answer. Warm weather beach or snowy mountain hike?
Oh, that's a tough one. It probably depends on what time of year. If you ask me in the summer, I'm gonna say I want a snowy mountain hike. You ask me in the wintertime, I'm gonna be like, man, let's go to the beach.
Okay,
So
you have a time machine and you can do either one.
I'm gonna go beach because I like
Beach
tide pools and I love
down.
finding little creatures.
Oh, see, there, there's that biology thing again.
Yeah,
Going out with your two sons too and picking on the little like they're not picking on them, bing bing bing, but all the little didn't you find like a crazy octopus or something last time?
yeah. Last time we were down in Mexico, we'd find like a half a dozen octopus every day. They're pretty
Yeah.
fun to play with.
Cool.
Good to poke.
Favorite. Oh, that was a weird noise. Favorite scary movie of all time?
Oh gosh. Uh, huh, uh, I'm drawing a blank on you.
All right, you drew a
Um,
blank. That's fine.
Drawing a
What are the
blank.
three? Give three great traits of bees.
Three great traits of bees. They can defend themselves. They'll sting you. I think that's a great trait. Like maybe not for us, but for them, it seems like a
No,
pretty
that's
great
awesome.
trait. On second note to that, something I love about at least the bees that I work with is that they also calm down really quickly. So
Oh,
they're you can
I
mess
didn't
with
know that.
them and be in their hive and be taking them apart, and hour later you can be right up next to the hive and they're not going to care again. They're
Hmm.
nice English bees, I guess. And the third one, they make honey, the best part of bees, and
True.
also the whole pollinating plants thing. That's pretty.
Ah, that's 4. I asked you 3.
Oh, you get a bonus answer.
Oh, nice. I like bonuses. What's the best thing that you grow? You definitely are an avid. You like animals, like you know all about like the tide creatures we were just talking about, and all these animal facts and fish and stuff. You also are pretty big on the plant physiology side of things, and you like growing plants as well. So, what is the best thing that you grow in your garden?
Well, being that we live at 7,300 feet or something right here, and I mean we have a longer growing season than you up in Baderville with your 28 days, but
It's a little more than 28, but not much.
I think one of the best things that we grow up here is probably the carrots. We get amazing carrots, and you can grow them almost all year round up here, which is a little something I'm working on, is doing the winter carrots. I tried some wheat.
Outside?
I tried to make outside. You can almost grow them year round. I was harvesting carrots in the middle of the winter this last winter. So that's just a little mulch and a little tender loving care, and you can keep them growing. I went and tilled my garden this springtime, and I found a whole head of cabbage. It was growing under the mulch.
Whoa!
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
That's still viable? Like still able to be eaten?
Yeah, still. Well, I mean, it's growing under mulch, and the mulch that I use, the fertilizer and mulch I use is chicken poop out of the chickens. So it's I didn't really want to eat it, but I was tilling up. I tilled up the cabbage. I was tilling up carrots and stuff. It was weird.
I can imagine you out there tilling and just like vegetables flying out, and you're like, ooh, nice, ooh, nice.
Yeah, it was weird.
Till up and there's a corn of cob. Corn of cob.
Pre-roasted.
Hey, good mead. A cob of corn, rather, flying out there. All right, next question.
Mead will get you.
Advil or ibuprofen?
Ibuprofen.
Yeah.
But I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's for some reason I agree, ibuprofen for sure. Wu-Tang or Tribe?
Ooh, the Wu, of course.
Yeah, for sure. I think
gotta go Wu.
Wu-Tang, it's for the children. It's for the children. That's right. Here's a question that I'm not on here. Nah, never mind. Okay, it was Wu related, but. Let's move on. RC, a radio-controlled truck or a radio-controlled helicopter?
Ooh, I'm gonna go truck because I can beat it up more before I break it.
Good answer. Good answer. Yeah. You crashed the radio-controlled helicopter once, it's done.
One time.
Unless you've got some crazy steel blades or something like that. When's the last time you saw your own blood?
This morning.
Yeah, sweet. I do not. You know what's funny is like I don't doubt it whatsoever, and the reason I'm asking that is one of the questions is that you've always got something going on. You like cut yourself or did something. So, details to share, or should we just move on?
It was just I was messing around with my strawberries and put a little tack in my thumb. No biggie.
Oh, messing around with your strawberries?
Yeah, I've got some plants growing on the side of the house. Ideally, for the business, I would love to grow all of our own fruit, have all of our own honey, have all just our own bees, and sort of go Rockefeller on the thing, top to bottom. But I mean, so I've got my experiments going in the side yard with some plums and some strawberries and some raspberries. So I think those are things that I might be able to manage up in this crazy climate that we live in.
If you can manage them if you can get those sharp strawberries under control and stop cutting yourself on strawberries, right?
I know, they're dangerous. They're dangerous this time of year.
All right, favorite. Okay, this is specific to you, of course. You've got a crazy collection of old school original Nintendo games. So my question is, what's your favorite original Nintendo game?
Battletoads. I don't even have to think about that one. And I think primarily because if you've ever played Battletoads and you press the start button, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, go find Battletoads and hit the start button, which is different than, I guess, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start, right?
It is.
Someone made a beer. Someone named it, I think it may have been 8-Bit down in Phoenix, down in the valley, named a beer. No, was it them? Someone named a beer, up, down, left, right, BA, select, start.
That's awesome.
Greatest beer name I've ever heard in my life. Terrible for a label, but greatest beer name I've ever heard of.
Yeah, you don't want to have to
truck.
get that one through the TTB.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Do they have like restrictions maybe on length of name? Maybe, possibly.
No, I don't. I hope not.
I mean, if they can let a beer named Flying Bitch go by, then they can probably let up, down, down, whatever. Anyway, your truck. Your truck is rhino lined on the outside. Usually that's that line on the inside of the bed, but you've got it along the outside of your truck. Quick thought, off the top of your head, what's the next item that you would like to rhino line right now?
My shoes. Just off the top of my head, my shoes. Like some rhino-lined boots. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some rhino-lined boots. Because, like, I don't know. I'm kind of hard on everything I own. And so some rhino-lined boots would be the way to go, I think.
Damn, I thought that would durable. I thought that would mess you up, but you were right on point on it. Sweet. And last
but I still can't think of a scary movie.
Oh, that's true. I got you on that one. Last question. Do you fold or crumple?
What? It depends on what I'm doing.
I think we all know what I'm asking. When you're by yourself in a small room, do you fold or crumple? Are you a folder or a crumpler?
I'm a crumpler. More of a crumpler.
Interesting.
I get like an initial fold and then a crumple.
Oh.
So I'm mix it up. Put the two together to make the best of both worlds, some might say.
Yeah, I hope so. All right, nice, awesome. That's our 12-pack of questions, even though it was about 15 or 16. So nice, awesome, good job on that. If we kept score, you got 1,000 points or whatever. So nice, half. Oh, left me hanging. Oh, that's all right. All right. So, and also from every guest,
lag time.
When we talk to what's that?
I said lag time on the high five.
Yeah, a little bit internet. We'll blame it on the internet. So, and one other question, or a couple questions for each one of the interviewees I want to do, whether they're an outdoor sports athlete or someone in the brew house. I want to do a one gear and one beer question. So, gear for you, what would be a suggestion of gear or some kind of gear that you've used so far in making mead that you either would suggest or you just can't live without? So, what would be a gear recommendation?
I think the thing that I probably couldn't live without the most would actually be those silly 99-cent bucket lid openers from the. Those things have saved my life.
You have those?
Oh yeah.
Lucky. I never used to have those as a home brewer. I'd always you feel like you're gonna break your nail off or you end up smacking yourself in the face. So where do you get those?
I went and got mine at a Homeco here, so
yeah.
Got a nice bucket. Oh, they got the high quality ones. They're nice. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about it right now. It's good.
That might be the greatest gear recommendation that we'll get ever. That's awesome. A plastic opener. All right, an essential piece of gear for you. Awesome. What about a mead recommendation? So I know they're kind of few and far between. We only have 2 other meaderies. We only had 1 for a long time, but now we have 2 meaderies in the state of Arizona.
We do. We had 1 for a long time, the Arizona Mead Company, and then recently, or somewhat recently, Superstition has come into play down in Prescott there.
Oh,
and so we've got those.
I thought Superstition was first and then Arizona Mead Company. So Arizona Mead Company was here first.
It could be. I kind of think they were, but somebody should probably double check me on that before they take it for granted. But we've got those 2 in the state, and they both produce some absolutely delicious meads. But my favorite that I've tried of other people's meads so far is from a place called Meadery of the Rockies. That's out of Grand Junction, or Palisades, technically, up in Colorado. And their traditional semi-sweet is amazing.
Nice.
Delicious.
Nice. I'll link that. What was the name of it again?
Meadery of the Rockies is the name.
Meadery of the Rockies. I'll actually give a shout out to them and link them to this as well. Can you find that here in Arizona or just in Colorado?
I don't know that I've ever found it here in Arizona, but just up in Colorado for now.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Man, all right, we are right at an hour, right where I wanted to be. This was a blast to get to sit back and drink your delicious. I'd show it again, but it's gone.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, even my larger one's gone. But your delicious, delicious traditional mead. Looking forward to getting some of your other varieties, and I am sending positive thoughts to get your licensing done
Thank you.
ASAP so that we
Thank you.
can all start to enjoy Drinking Horn mead. And so, anything else? Any closing thoughts for us?
No, and thank you for having me on the show, and I really appreciate it and all the support that you've given me up to this point.
Nice. Awesome. And thanks for everyone who watched and for submitting questions. That just made it so much better. I love that. So look forward to our next episodes. Try to do some video podcasts and love to hear questions as well. So again, thank you, Evan. And I wish you all the luck in the world. And yeah, cheers, man.
Cheers, man. You take care, bud.
Peace.